Okay, so today we're going to do something a little different. We are going to tear apart a song that uses language as an actual weapon. We'll break down exactly how its lyrics are built piece by piece to package a really difficult truth and, totally mess with our perception of reality. And this line, this is where it all starts. Your pain is my paycheck. Wow. That single line from the song And Thanks for Your Meat, it just sets the whole stage. It's the big confession right up front, and it perfectly nails the song's cold, cynical, it's all about the money worldview. All right, so here's how we're going to tackle this. We're going to peel it back in 5 layers. First, who's the cynic talking? Then, what are the sharp linguistic weapons they're using? After that, we'll check out the green facade, see how pain gets turned into a product, and finally, what this whole thing says about us.
All right, section 1. So first things first, right? If we want to get the message, we have to understand the messenger. So who is telling this story? Whose voice are we even listening to?
And right away, the lyrics give us a huge clue. I don't raise a creature, I raise a receipt. Yikes. The voice we're hearing isn't a real person. No, it's a persona, right? It's this super slick, weirdly charming, but brutally honest marketing brain from inside the industry. And listen to how this voice works. It transforms a living being into just an item on a spreadsheet, a receipt, a unit. It's this total de-animalization, all done using the cold language of business. And that right there is the key to the whole song. This isn't some tell-all confession. It's not a documentary. It's satire. It's a device that uses things like irony and exaggeration to make a point. The lyrics are imitating the industry's voice, not to agree with it, but to crank up the volume on its logic so loud that you just can't ignore how flawed it is. It's a classic, brilliant way to expose a way of thinking.
Okay, moving on. Now we know who's talking, so let's look at how they're talking. What's in their toolbox? What are the specific literary weapons that make these lyrics hit so hard?
Just listen to this line. I sell farmhouse perfume for the stench and the heat. I mean, think about that. The word farmhouse. What do you picture? Something nice, right? Rustic, pleasant. But here it's being used to literally cover up something awful. It's the perfect example of using a pretty word to paint over a really ugly truth. And there's a word for this little trick. It's called a euphemism. Swapping out a harsh or blunt word for a softer one. And this song is absolutely packed with them. The goal? Well, the lyrics say it best. To sugarcoat horror, make suffering sweet. It's all for the consumer. Okay, here's another fantastic one. The narrator totally plays with us here. Was it happy? They ask. And he replies, of course. Didn't you see the wide open paint? You hear wide open, and your brain just automatically fills in pasture or field, right? But nope, you get paint. He dangles this comforting image in front of you and then just yanks it away, smacking you with the cynical truth. And that, my friends, is a perfect example of irony. It's when the intended meaning is the total opposite of what's being said. It's more than just a clever rhyme. It's a full-on mockery of those really shallow animal welfare claims. It's basically saying, yeah, sometimes the good life is literally just a coat of pain.
All right, let's pull back a bit. We've been looking at individual words, which is cool, but now let's look at the big picture. The whole strategy, the so-called green facade.
And this slide just lays it all out, plain and simple. It's language versus reality. Look at the left side. You've got all the nice, fuzzy marketing words. Farmhouse, local, humane. Then look at the right, the reality the narrator is describing. Stench, unit, violence. It's a head-on collision between the sales pitch and what's actually happening.
There's a name for this whole strategy. It's called greenwashing. It's when a company tries to make itself seem way more ethical or environmentally friendly than it really is. The whole point is to give you, the consumer, an easy out, a guilt-free pass. Or, like the song puts it, to make cruelty look guiltless and green.
So we have to ask, what's the point of all this? Where is it all going? All this clever wordplay, the framing, the irony. What is the end game for our narrator?
And we land right back on that killer line, which is really the punchline of the whole song. Your pain is my paycheck. I wrap up the violence in local and clean. This is the why. The language isn't just window dressing. It's the essential ingredient. It's the magic wand that turns something violent into a nice, clean product you can sell. It's how you turn pain into a paycheck. And what's really amazing is the song doesn't stop there. It actually starts breaking down the common arguments you hear to defend all this. It calls them deflection frames. Look at these. Appeals to freedom, the jobs argument, tradition. Notice how none of them actually talk about the main issue? Nope, they just flip it around to make the person asking questions the problem. You're the extreme one, and it's a super effective way to just shut the whole conversation down.
Okay, final section. Let's bring this all home. Let's turn the mirror on ourselves. Why does any of this matter? Why should we care about all these fancy literary tricks in our everyday lives?
Well, the song has a pretty chilling answer to that. They don't want the truth, they just want it neat. Oof. It's suggesting that these tricks work not just because the marketers are clever, but because we let them. Maybe, just maybe, we'd rather have the nice, neat story than the messy, complicated truth. The silence, it suggests, is something we both agree to.
And then we get to the end. The last 4 lines are like these quick, brutal cuts in a movie. First up, crowns in the cold aisle. I mean, it's so poetic, right? It makes a piece of meat sound majestic. And in doing that, it completely disconnects it from the living thing it once was.
Then, salt as an alibi. Wow. A simple seasoning isn't just for flavor anymore. Now it's an excuse, a way to make it all okay, a way to forget.
Next, no scream in the plastic. And there it is, the final cleanup job. That plastic wrap is the perfect soundproof wall. It erases every last trace of where this product actually came from.
And it all ends with this: just profits on ice. Those last words just hang there. After all the beautiful language, all the marketing, we're back to the cold, hard truth. It's about money. The deal is done.
So I guess the real takeaway here isn't an answer, it's a question. For you, how does language influence your choices in the supermarket? The next time you're reading a label or watching an ad, maybe just ask yourself, okay, what's the story they're selling me? And maybe more importantly, what's the story they're leaving out?